Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about being self-employed. I have been self-employed for about 3 years. Wait, what year is it? Oh, coming up to 4 years. And during that time, I've gone in and out of full-time non-self-employment, so employment. So I'm going to be talking a bit about self-employment. I know some of you were interested in self-employment and would just like to hear more about my own self-employment story or about just becoming self-employed, because I know someone said they wanted to become a freelancer soon, and I know other people who are also freelancing or self-employed. And then there's always that age-old debate about what is self-employment, what is freelancing, what's the difference. Not really going to talk about that because, to be honest, I feel like it's semantics, so let's just get that out of the way and kind of talk about them as if they're one and the same. Obviously there are some differences, but for overall what I'm going to talk about, it's pretty much the same kind of process, yeah, for both. So becoming self-employed, you want to become self-employed and you want to know how to go about doing that and how to do it successfully. So self-employment like really requires a crap ton of discipline. So if you're not a disciplined person, it doesn't mean you can't do it, but it just means you're gonna have to work extra hard to make sure that you're staying on top of things, unless you want to go broke. So let's start with the beginning. Firstly, what type of work do you want to do? As a self-employed or freelancer, what kind of work are you wanting to do? I started off being self-employed. I started off doing film work. So I was working as a full-time extra in TV and film. That was like the first ever real self-employed job I did. And I've been doing that since then. So yeah, so I did that. I've done some other stuff, so like some commercial acting, other things outside of that since, but that's how I started. So do you want to do that? That's something you can do. It's a job. A lot of people like debate whether or not you could do it full time. I've done it full time for years, so I don't see why you couldn't, especially if you supplement it with something else that you're doing. Some people teach online, so that's something you could also do. Some people do other jobs online, like remote work, so being a personal assistant, a virtual assistant. There are loads of self-employed jobs that you can do. I personally only really know about like acting and being an extra. Other than that, that's really as far as my own specific knowledge goes. Oh, promotions is another way as well. I've done promotions before, so that's like doing promo work for companies. So maybe a company has a new product and they want to promote it, but they don't have their own team to do that. Whatever their marketing plan is, they want some people to do it. So they'll get a company, an agency that has people working for them as promoters, and they go out and promote different products every day, or they go and hand out like leaflets, or they go and do like, when you see those places that have like free samples, like perfume or even drink samples, stuff like that. Also like award ceremonies. I've done an award ceremony before where you just give awards at an award ceremony, so you're like outsourced to work there. That's another job that you can do self-employed. But what do you want to do? Do you want to be a writer? That's another thing. Like if you're into like the creative side, maybe writing is your thing and you want to be a full-time self-employed writer. Maybe you want to write for print and write for magazines, write for online websites, stuff like that, and also do like traditional publishing as well. So that's another way you can be self-employed. So what is it that you want to do? Why do you want to become self-employed? Make sure you kind of have that and you know what you want to do, and not just be like, I want to be self-employed because I don't want to work. Because it's not how it works, because you're still going to have to work. But like, you have to figure out what it is that you want to focus on. That is because you're going to have to register as self-employed, especially in the UK, after you've earned a certain amount. I think it's 1,000. Something like that. Check the HMRC website, it's all on there. Actually it's the gov.uk like self-employment page, and it kind of has all the information you need to know about registering as self-employed. So you have to register obviously as self-employed for tax purposes. So when you do that here in the UK, it does ask you kind of what kind of work you do as well. So you'll have to have something to write down there. So I'm sure if you've made money, you've already been making it doing something quite specific, or at least most of it has come from one stream. If not, just pick the one that you're most likely to do for the longest period. So yeah, and then I think you can update that every year, I'm sure. I think. I can't remember if you can update that when you do your self-assessment. So yeah, so that's so you can file your taxes. So obviously you have to file your taxes, otherwise the HMRC are gonna come for you. So don't leave it. Like, I know so many people are just like, do it. They never did it, and I'm like, I don't know what happened to them. I just know whatever it is, it's probably not great. So don't leave it. If you can do it, it's so simple. I've been a taxpayer in 2 countries now, or 3 countries. One was dealt for me because I wasn't self-employed. The second was in Canada, and I have never seen something so complex in my whole life. It's actually scary. So yeah, it's nothing like that here. Make sure that all your numbers are on point, your numbers are correct. I'll get into this later, how you can make sure that is, because you never know when you're gonna need to come with your receipts, basically. So keep receipts for all your expenses. I'll talk about that later anyways, but yeah, so register as self-employed. Next, you need to get on top of your calendar. So if you're deciding that you want to do maybe like film work, so with me specifically, I do film work. When you're booking jobs, make sure that you put it in your calendar and you have a color code for everything. So my calendar is so colorful. I'm obsessed with organization. I don't know what it is. Something about having a really nice full calendar with lots of red days. Red days means I'm working. It's really nice. So I can show you. It's so blown out. I'll try and insert a picture of my calendar. Usually what I'll do is when I've got a day that's penciled for working, I'll put it in my calendar and I'll put it as pencil in big, like in capital letters. And then I'll write what the production is and what agency it's with. So then I know, oh, when I look at my calendar and another company's like, or another production company's like, can you do this? And I'm like, pencil for something, but I can take another pencil and then just make sure I let them know when I've been booked on something else. And I'll change that as it goes along. So if I get booked on the job, then I put it as filming, and then I write down the production. I just change pencil to filming. And I keep doing that. And I do it for basically all the pencils I have, at least the ones that I feel like are gonna stick. I really think that this is when everything changed for me as being self-employed, is when I got on top of my calendar and got on top of actually organizing everything. Because in the beginning I had work and it was all in my email, but I didn't really know when it was coming up until they're like, oh yeah, you're filming tomorrow. And I'm like, oh crap, I am doing that. Or sometimes I'd like accidentally maybe plan something else with someone, like a friend, and then I'd realize that I was filming and I was like, oh my god. So it started to frustrate me, and this was my way of kind of getting over that. And I think this is one of the best ways, especially if you do something like film work or anything freelance, and you have like a stack calendar that changes constantly. Just put it in there, write what it is, have a color code for really like important things. So I usually do red, as I said, for film work, because that's money and I know that is going to be a whole day commitment. So if I look at my calendar, I see red and it says filming, I know I'm not putting anything else. I'm not booking anything. I'm not doing anything, because I'm gonna be out the whole day, like probably from early in the morning till late at night some days. So yeah. And I also use my calendar for like social events. So if I want to meet up with my friends, I usually put it in orange. If I want to, if I have something, an event to go to, or if I have an event, I'll put it in orange. I kind of changed this up. I used to have yellow for events, but yellow is now kind of just for like random things that are happening that are not exactly involving me. So maybe if my husband is out of town for the week, I'll put that as yellow on my calendar so I know he's gone, and I'm like, okay great, my calendar's free, I can do whatever I want. I'm just like, it's a free week. It's just so I can see visually when I'm thinking about what I want to do and when I'm making plans, what's happening during the week. So use it for other things. I use it for basically everything in my life. So I don't know what I would do without my Google Calendar. Yeah, and I use Google Calendar. That's how I get the colors. A lot of people I've met, I told them about my calendar system because I'm proud of it, and they always ask me, how do you do that? Like, I tried it. Like, I'll meet them again later and they're like, I tried it, I don't understand, how do you make them different colors? So it's by using Google Calendars. You can, oh my god, there's something happening out there. Shut up! I think there's traffic on the road. I live on a highway, a motorway, so yeah, when there's a backed up traffic, and it's rush hour right now, it's 5:37, so as you can tell, I'm self-employed because I'm making a video at 5:37 and the horns are going off. Is it that deep? Everyone, I live in London. This is what happens when you live in the heart of the city, okay? Don't move to London. I'm just kidding. London's great. It's great. I feel like I need to move somewhere a bit further out. So yeah, get on top of your calendar, get organized. it will definitely help you when you're booking work. It will help you to know what you're doing. If you do multiple different kinds of jobs, so one thing I want to talk about is income streams. If you have lots of different types of work as someone self-employed or freelance, maybe color code your types of work if that is more important to you. But me, I specifically only have like 1 or 2, so it's easy for me to just be like red. Red I know is like I'm working, so I don't book anything. But yeah, if you do multiple things, color codes can work really well for color coding the type of work or the urgency of the work. The next, and probably one of the most important thing, is to track your expenses and to track your earnings and also your savings. If you do those, you should save if you can, especially for taxes. So tracking your expenses. Every month I have a calendar. I still haven't done this budget video. I'm planning to do it. It's just like, it takes a lot of time. So I need to like a day where I can sit down and do it. But so I have a budget, and in that I have, everything is divided into like my bills, my work, so my work expenses, so anything I spend money on to do with work, my YouTube expenses, anything I spend on to do with YouTube, and then like entertainment, home, other things. So I specifically make those 2 piles so that when it comes to tax time and they ask me for my expenses, I can easily have a formula to add up every single sheet for the year, for the tax year, and how much I spent on, I can even add it up myself. It's really easy. I just copy and paste it all into one sheet, and then I've got my expenses right there and I know it, and I don't have to like go through my accounts, go through my receipts to figure out what I spend on my work that I need to put on my self-assessment when it comes to tax time. So it's really helpful to have that. If you want to just have that, you could do it. You don't need all the rest, but I'm really like hardcore on tracking my spending this year and last year because I want to save a lot of money. So I have no choice in my eyes. If I want to do it, I know I have to know where I'm spending my money so I can figure out where I can cut down, which I already spoken about in another video. And another thing, before expenses, what I think is more important is tracking your earnings. Since the beginning of me doing film work, I tracked my earnings. So I have a spreadsheet. It tracks, the first thing I have is date. The second thing I have is the show and the film that I'm working on. The third thing I have is agency. And then my call time and my wrap time. And also the day rate and the total hours worked. And then I have pay, which is after agency commission. And then I have tax, which is how much I'll get taxed. My tax column doesn't really work because, I mean, it does technically. I mean, I did make it work by putting all the taxes there. It's just 20%. And then what did I do? Oh, and then I have like a counter. I have another thing that tracks after 12.5 or 12,500 how much I need to pay tax on. It's dumb. Really, it's dumb. There's no way to calculate it. It's really easy to just calculate it on its own, so I didn't really need a tax column. I just had it from when I was in Canada where it was way easier to calculate. But yeah, so there's that. Also, something to think about is national insurance, which you'll also have to pay. So it's not only that 20% tax, like you'll have to pay national insurance and probably student loans if you still have those and you plan on paying them off. You should definitely pay those every month. Like, just pick a number. I go with £30 as a base, and then if I have more, I just add more. But like, I just have a standing order. So, well, not a standing order, but I do it every month. I have a reminder just to do it, because if you just stop paying it for a year, you'll see how the interest will just creep back up, and you'll never end up paying it off. So you might as well just pay off some of it. Even if it's like a little bit, it's still helping towards bringing that number down. And then I have like a bunch of other things along the side that I like to track, like how much I made for the tax year and things like that, that I put alongside all of the columns, just so it's easier when it comes to tax time to figure out how much I made. So I just say it from a specific date onwards. But yeah, so track your earnings. The most important reason why you should track your earnings is because when you get paid, it might be sporadically. If you're self-employed, there's probably not a set date. I mean, there might be if you do like promotions or teaching, there's probably a set schedule for pay. But if you do film work, that money just comes in randomly, like 2 months later. So the numbers can be off and you might not even notice if you didn't get paid. So if I never track that, there's so many times where someone just forgot to pay me. And if I didn't put a tick next to it after I got paid, I wouldn't know that I hadn't been paid. So it's so useful, because like I'll just go back through, like after a few weeks I'll see what I'm due to be paid, because I know what I've been paid already, and then I'll follow up with something if it's been longer than 2 months. Savings is like an optional thing you could do. You could just track that because it's like all kind of intertwined with everything, and I just like to see how much I'm saving in which accounts so I don't have to technically go into those accounts, and I could just kind of see how much I've saved so far, as well as like my saving goals. I put those in the spreadsheet as well. So I think that's a kind of general nice like overview of being self-employed and ways that you can kind of make sure that you're on top of it. I didn't really want to make this video too long. I just kind of want it to be like an introduction to self-employment. I'd really love to kind of do a little series on self-employment, different ideas on work for self-employment, the best like ways to be self-employed and successful as self-employed. I don't know, I just in general want to talk more about self-employment, so I would like to talk a bit more about like being full-time like in film. So that's something that I will talk about later, and probably writing as well, because those are the two things I kind of do. Writing is like a hobby, but will probably eventually become part of the whole income stream. Yeah, I think I'll talk about that at some point. I'll definitely talk about that, because it's really difficult when you do lots of different types of work, trying to come together and figure it out, especially if you are employed for part of the financial year. That can kind of make things go a bit funny, but thankfully like the HMRC are really on top of it, and they kind of like add that into your self-assessment, so when you are filing your taxes it is a bit easier to figure it all out. Plus, I have to give kudos and credit to the HMRC for how easy it is to file your taxes. I know I already said it already, but it's so easy. Like literally there's a few columns, you fill in a few numbers, it's so simple. But if you see it and it looks confusing, go get help, okay? Get financial advice, go ask someone. But honestly, if I was able to do my taxes in Canada, obviously with the help of my husband and his dad, who's actually an accountant, but like on my own almost, but not really. But if I was able to do that, here is such a breeze in comparison, so I'd rather just do it myself. But if you do earn a lot of money and you're over a certain tax threshold, honestly, you're probably better off just going with like some professional help, because at the end of the day, there'll be things that you need to know that you won't know. So like certain things to do with like tax relief and like marriage allowances, stuff like that. Like things that you might not know about and don't want to read on, or just don't have the time to think about. So passing it off to someone professional might be really useful to you. But anyways, so yeah, that's my video on how to become self-employed and how to kind of get on top of self-employment and make sure that you're kind of keeping on top of your work and making sure that you get paid on time. So yeah, if you'd like another video on self-employment, let me know. But for now, this is where I'm at. I will see you guys next week. Sorry there wasn't a video last week. Long story short, I was working all week and couldn't do it. Yeah, the hours, it was impossible. So, but now I'm self-employed again. So here I am. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe if you're not subscribed. I really want to get to like 100 subscribers, and I'm halfway there, so I'm really excited. I hope to get there soon. Fingers crossed. And podcast coming soon as well. I know I've been saying that, but it's really coming. It's on my goals list, so I have to make it happen like soon. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.